Hi, I'm Ira Kalish, Chief Economist of Deloitte, and this is your weekly economic update coming to you from New York City. In the past, in these videos, I've talked about how when the crisis in the Middle East began, there was actually plenty of oil and gas in the pipeline. There was oil at sea on its way to its customers, so there wasn't actually a physical shortage of oil. The price rose in anticipation of a potential shortage of oil. Well, all of that oil that was in the pipeline has mostly been delivered, and so now there actually is a physical shortage. Now, when there is a shortage, when there's a gap between supply and demand, what has to happen is demand has to fall sufficiently to meet supply, and that would likely require a much higher price of oil. And the International Energy Agency estimates that the daily supply of oil to the world is down about 11 million barrels per day from where it was prior to the start of the crisis. And demand for oil is down about 4 million barrels per day. So that's a gap of about 7 million barrels, which means demand has to fall by 7 million barrels, which again would require a big increase in price. And yet, the price lately has been relatively stable. Why is that? Well, it turns out that many countries in the world have been rapidly releasing their reserves onto the market to a degree we've never seen before. It's been estimated that in the past month, reserves have been released to the tune of about 6.5 million barrels per day, which is almost the 7 million barrel gap between supply and demand. So that basically explains why the price has been relatively stable. Meanwhile, the price of oil has essentially bounced around on news about when or if the crisis is going to end. And it's been estimated that there's about 2 months more of accessible reserves available to keep this pace of the release of reserves. And that would take us to the summer. So if in the summer the Strait of Hormuz is still closed and remains closed beyond that, then at that point it's possible that we would start to see a very sharp rise in the price of oil. But for now, we have to wait and see if this conflict ends sometime soon. That's it for this week, and I hope you have a good week.